Welcome back to our explainer series on rebuilding civilization from scratch. In our previous episode, we broke down exactly why harnessing fire was humanity's very first true breakthrough. I mean, think about it. Fire gave us the critical warmth needed to survive brutal ice ages. It provided a literal shield of protection, keeping terrifying nocturnal predators at bay while we slept. And maybe most importantly, it gave us the ability to cook our food, which quite literally sparked human cognitive evolution by unlocking more calories for our growing brains. It was the ultimate game changer. But even with fire, without water, civilization would never survive.
Let's look at this incredibly stark reality from our source material. Quote, a maximum of about 7 days. Dehydration clouds your common sense, quickly depriving you of the will to live. That really sets the stakes, doesn't it? Before you can build a house or forge metal or plant a single seed, you absolutely have to solve the hydration equation. Without it, your brain literally stops working and your energy just crashes. So finding water isn't just some important task on a to-do list. It is a high-stakes, absolute life-or-death priority.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our structured survival manual for today's explainer. Number 1, sourcing water. 2, reading nature's clues. 3, the danger trap. 4, filtration methods. And 5, the foundation of settlement. Section 1, sourcing water. The hunt begins. All right, we know the biological clock is ticking, so now we must transition to actively finding it out in the wild. Water. Just let that word sink in for a second. It is humanity's single most essential resource, period. Without it, there is no industry, no agriculture, no society whatsoever. It is the absolute bedrock of any civilization we could ever hope to build.
Now, the most obvious solutions are passive, right? We're talking about collecting rainwater, gathering morning dew, or maybe evaporating ground moisture using a basic solar still. And hey, while these methods are super straightforward, they are also highly dependent on your local climate and, honestly, a whole lot of luck. We can't simply cross our fingers and rely on a rain dance every morning. We have to actively hunt for sustainable, reliable sources.
And knowing where to look? Well, that depends entirely on your terrain. Let's say you're up in the mountains. You're going to want to seek out sources in cliff fissures, or maybe at the base of steep inclines where the plant life looks especially lush and verdant. But what if you're stuck in an arid desert? Look for the bugs. Seriously, midges and mosquitoes actually tend to swarm directly above hidden groundwater.
Springs. Sometimes, a life-saving source is hiding literally right beneath your boots. If you stumble across a completely dry riverbed, do not give up. Try digging down through those loose soil and gravel layers. More often than not, there is a natural spring flowing just out of sight.
Section 2, reading nature's clues, flora and fauna.
You know, the environment around you is actually this highly detailed map to hydration, but only if you know how to read the signs. And this brilliantly illustrates that point. In super dry regions, you can physically wring out liquid from the pulp of certain cacti to stave off extreme thirst. Or if you're lucky enough to find a date palm, just making a tiny incision in a lower branch will cause life-saving liquid to flow right out of it.
But it's not just plants. Animals know exactly where the water is too. You just need to observe their behavioral clues. See large colonies of bees or ants? Hey, they need water to survive just like we do. Watch the flight paths of local birds. Keep your eyes peeled for pockets of localized fog in the valleys. And here's an incredibly specific, totally brilliant survival trick. If you see accumulations of bird droppings near a crack in a cliff face, there is very likely water inside. You might even be able to reach it with a simple makeshift straw. How cool is that?
Groundwater. When those surface clues completely fail you, you've got to understand the concept of looking deeper beneath the surface.
So, if you need to drill a well, we're talking usually 10 to 15 meters deep here. You don't want to just start digging blindly. Look for indicator trees, things like alder, birch, spruce, and pine. And here's a beautifully simple, almost magic trick from our sources. Take a large clay pot, dry it out in the sun, and then set it upside down right on the ground. If the bottom begins to sweat with condensation after a little while, boom, you have found the absolute perfect spot to start digging.
Section 3, the danger trap, when thirst kills. Okay, so you finally found water, which is fantastic, but finding it absolutely does not mean your problems are over. This brings us to a really provocative question that challenges a huge, very common survival mistake. Think about it. Is clear water actually safe to drink?
The terrifying truth here is that gulping down untreated water can actually kill you even faster than dehydration. Why? Because of invisible biological threats. We're talking about nasty bacteria, dangerous spores, and parasitic larvae just waiting in there. Stagnant or murky environments are especially deadly. You just can't trust what you can't see.
Section 4. Filtration methods, making it safe. And hey, real quick, if you have any questions about survival or rebuilding civilization, leave them in the comments. Your question might become a future episode. If you're enjoying this series, don't forget to like the video and subscribe.
Now that we understand those invisible threats, how do we actually make this resource safe? Purification. Hammer this keyword right into your mind. Making your water safe is a totally non-negotiable step in rebuilding civilization. Think about it. You simply cannot sustain a healthy workforce or grow a community on contaminated water. It's a recipe for disaster.
Filtration. Let's look at the direct, physical mechanics of actually removing those larger, dangerous hazards we just talked about.
So the crucial point here is exactly how you construct your filter using materials straight from the earth. You're going to need to gather fine gravel, sand, and wood charcoal. Then, you layer these natural materials sequentially in some kind of vessel and slowly drain your contaminated water right through them. The sand and charcoal act as this amazing physical barrier, effectively filtering out all the larger parasites and sediments. It's brilliant in its simplicity.
Boiling. Now, filtration removes all the big stuff, but you still have to kill off the microscopic threats. And this connects perfectly back to our previous explainer. Fire is your ultimate decontamination method, guaranteeing that the water is finally, truly safe to consume.
Section 5. The foundation of settlement.
Let's take a step back and look at the massive societal impact of mastering this one single resource. According to our sources, semi-permanent settlements would be the building blocks of established communities and the development of agricultural practices. Once early humans secured a permanent, safe water source, they didn't have to constantly follow the rain anymore. They could finally shift from those exhausting nomadic lifestyles to fixed, permanent homes. This meant they could utilize local resources, invent things like roof-based heating and complex water systems, and eventually start planting crops. It literally changed the course of history.
All right, let's do a quick, energetic recap of our survival manual. Here are your 5 key takeaways for rebuilding humanity from the ground up. Number 1, dehydration kills within 7 days. It is your absolute first priority. Number 2, read nature's map. Plants, birds, and insects all point the way to hidden sources. 3, use specific indicator trees or that clever clay pot trick to locate deep groundwater. 4, never ever assume clear water is safe from biological threats. And number 5, always filter through sand and charcoal and then decontaminate by boiling.
So ask yourself, if the tap stopped flowing tomorrow, would you actually know how to find the water hidden beneath your feet? Mastering water keeps us alive, for sure. But to truly rebuild, we need to bind our new world together. Next time, we'll learn one of humanity's oldest technologies, how to make rope from natural materials.